Welcome back to the Interplanar Fighting Championships, where D&D monsters battle for bragging rights. The bracket of challenge rating 11 monsters has been confirmed. The CR11 tournament is here. And if you want to fill out a bracket, here's the official IFC scoring system. Guess a round 1 matchup correctly, you get 1 point. Guess a round 2 matchup correctly, you get 2 points. Guess a semifinal bout correctly, you get 4 points. And if you guess a champion of the tournament correctly, you get 8 points. And if you'd like to chat with me and the rest of the IFC community, join our Discord server. Link is in my bio. The first matchup in our CR11 tournament pits the CR10 champion Haunting Revenant versus the Balhanoth. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Haunting Revenant up first. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 2 object slam attacks, and invitation. First up, invitation. It's a DC 17 charisma saving throw. The Balhanoth subtracts 1 to this. But that is a natural 20. That's gonna save. So now the 2 object slam attacks. An 8 or higher is gonna hit. An 11 and a 12, both of those are gonna hit. Each slam deals 5d8 plus 5 bludgeoning damage. 65 points of damage. The Balhanoth is going to use a legendary action, Vanish. Magically becomes invisible for up to 10 minutes. Oh wait. The Haunting Revenant has True Sight, so being invisible doesn't matter. Their Bite legendary action needs to be against a creature they're grappling. The Haunting Revenant is immune to grapple. And then they have Teleport, which isn't going to help them. The Balhanoth, their legendary actions are nerfed by the Haunting Revenant. So it is now the Balhanoth's turn. They're going to do 1 bite and 2 tentacle attacks. A 13 or higher is gonna hit. 2 5s and a 2, all of those are gonna miss. Oh my gosh, the Haunting Revenant's turn. First invitation, DC 17 charisma saving throw. A 13 minus 1 fails, but the Balhanoth has 2 legendary resistances. They're gonna use 1 to save here. Now 2 object slam attacks. A 4 plus 9 is going to miss, but the 13 on the dice hits. 32 points of damage. The Balhanoth's turn. 1 bite and 2 tentacles. The 2 and 7 on the dice both miss, but the 15 plus 7 hits. Each tentacle deals 2d6 plus 3 bludgeoning. 7 points of damage. Back to the Haunting Revenant. First invitation, DC 17 charisma saving throw. Another natural 20 on that. Okay, Balhanoth. 2 object slam attacks. 3 plus 9 is going to miss, but the 16 on the dice hits. This should be it. A 12 on 5d8 and the Balhanoth's down. 10, 18, 21, plus 5, and with 26 points of bludgeoning damage, our CR10 champion dominates the Balhanoth. Our next round 1 matchup in our CR11 tournament pits the Fire Helien versus the Treefolk. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Treefolk up first. The Treefolk's gonna use their multi-attack and do 2 Crushing Vine attacks. And that is a natural 20 on the first Vine attack. And on a hit, the target is grappled and restrained. The Treefolk's second attack will be at advantage. And that is another natural 20. Each Crushing Vine deals 3d12 plus 6 bludgeoning. This is going to be a total of 12d12 plus 12 bludgeoning damage. That one's cocked, and we honor the cock. That is 72 points of bludgeoning damage. Now the Fire Helien's turn. They are going to use their Infernal Orb. The Helien hurls a magical ball of fire. Each creature in that area must make a DC 17 dexterity saving throw. The Treefolk only adds a 1 to this. But a 16 plus 1 is a 17, and that saves. 48 fire damage and 48 necrotic damage halved. The Treefolk is vulnerable to fire damage, so the fire damage is going to be doubled. 23 fire damage, doubled to 46, and then halved back to 23, and 23 necrotic damage halved to 11. The Treefolk's turn. They're going to do 2 Crushing Vine attacks, both at advantage. 16 plus 10, first one hits, and the second one hits. 37 points of damage. Now the Fire Helien's turn. They're doing another Infernal Orb attack. DC 17 dexterity saving throw. A 3 plus 1 is gonna fail. This one's cocked, and we honor the cock. 23 fire damage doubled to 46, and 15 necrotic damage. The Treefolk's turn. 2 more Crushing Vine attacks at advantage. 14 plus 10 hits, and a 16 plus 10 hits. This one's cocked, and we honor the cock. I've been saying that. 51 damage. Plants versus fire. Who would have guessed? Okay, the Fire Helien's turn. If they don't take down the Treefolk, they're probably going down next turn. They could use their Morningstar, but at disadvantage because they're restrained. Just escaping the grapple just doesn't make sense. The Fire Helien has to do another Infernal Orb. They gotta hope for a fail, a great roll, or something. DC 17 Dexterity saving throw. 13 plus 1's gonna fail. Oh my gosh, another cock. What is happening? Someone control these chickens. 9 fire damage doubled to 18. That's not good. 16 necrotic damage to the Treefolk. 2 more Crushing Vine attacks. On a hit, there's a good chance the Fire Helien goes down. If both of these hit, it's game over. 8 or higher hits with advantage. 7 plus 10. The first attack misses. Okay, second attack. Treefolk, what do you got? Okay, a 12 plus 10 hits. Fire Helien needs 3d12 to be 8 or lower to stay up. Let's see. No chance. That is 23 plus 6, 29 points of bludgeoning damage, and the Treefolk, the plant, defeats the Fire Helien. Moving along in our CR11 tournament, we got the Dow versus the Fire Gaunt. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Dow's gonna be up first. They're gonna use their multi-attack and do 3 Earthen Maul attacks. A 5 or higher is gonna hit. All of those are gonna hit. Each maul deals 46 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. That is 67 points of damage. The Fire Gaunt's turn. They're gonna use their Crimson Rays. The Fire Gaunt emits beams of fire from its eyes, mouth, and wounds. Each creature must make a DC 18 Dexterity saving throw. The Dow adds a 5, so they need a 13 or higher to save. 5 plus 5 is gonna fail. You're gonna take 7d8 fire damage. 32 points of fire damage. In addition, the Dow also catches fire. They're gonna take 1d10 fire damage at the start of each of its turns until they take an action to extinguish the flames. Now the Dow's turn. They take 10 points of fire damage, and they're gonna do 3 Earthen Maul attacks. 8 plus 10 hits, all of those hit. 48 plus 18 is 66 points of damage. The Dow came to play here. The Fire Gaunt's turn. Crimson Rays does not recharge. They're going to use their multi-attack, 2 Heated Maul attacks. A 7 or higher hits. Both of those are going to hit. In addition, once per turn on a Heated Maul hit, the Maul can burst into flames, so the Dow needs to make a DC 18 Dexterity saving throw. A 12 plus 5 is going to fail. Each maul deals 3d10 plus 7 bludgeoning, and on that fail, the Dow will take an additional 3d6 fire and 3d6 necrotic. That is 59 points of damage. The Dow's turn. They take 7 points of fire damage, and they're doing 3 more Earthen Maul attacks. There's a good chance that on hits, this is over. Ooh. 9 plus 10 hits, all of those hit. The Fire Gaunt needs 12d6 to be a 24 or lower to stay alive. 11, 16, nope. 50 plus 18, and with 68 points of damage, the Dow defeats the Fire Gaunt. Oh, but on their turn, they'll take another 5 points of fire damage, and then they extinguish themselves. Now they are home free. The Dow defeats the Fire Gaunt. Today's round 1 matchup of our CR11 tournament pits the Draco Hydra versus the Spider Dragon. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Spider Dragon up first. The Spider Dragon's gonna use their Spiderling Breath. Exhales venomous spiderlings in a 30-foot cone. Each creature must make a DC 15 Dexterity saving throw. A 3 plus 1 is going to fail. It's going to be 60-10 piercing damage and 60-10 poison damage. 23 piercing and 35 poison. And because the Draco Hydra just took over 30 points of damage, one of the Draco Hydra's heads dies. The Spider Dragon's also going to use a bonus action, Stifling Webs. The Spider Dragon spins a 30-foot cube of strong, sticky webbing. The webbing is difficult terrain. A creature that starts its turn in the webbing or enters the webbing for the first time must succeed on a DC 15 dexterity saving throw or have the restrained condition while in the web. Now the Draco Hydra's turn. At the start of their turn, they have to make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. Only adds a 1. But a 19 plus 1's gonna save. They are not restrained. But it is difficult terrain, so their movement is halved. Because of that, the Draco Hydra is gonna use their Prismatic Breath. Exhales a single breath of multicolored energy in a 60-foot cone. It's a DC 17 dexterity saving throw. A 5 plus 8's gonna fail. The Draco Hydra gets to choose what type of damage it deals. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. They're gonna choose fire and deal 6d10 fire damage. That's 22 points of fire damage. In addition, for the Spider Dragon's web, a 5-foot cube of the web is destroyed if it takes at least 10 fire damage on a turn. So with that, I'm gonna say basically the web is gone at this point. And at the end of the Draco Hydra's turn, they grow 2 heads for each of its head that died since its last turn. So the Draco Hydra is now up to 6 heads. Now to the Spider Dragon. Both their Spiderling Breath and their Stifling Webs do not recharge. They're gonna do their multi-attack, 1 bite and 2 claws. Ooh, okay. Both of the claws miss, but a 14 plus 9 does hit with the bite. The bite deals 1d10 plus 5 piercing plus 2d12 poison damage. 23 points of damage. The Draco Hydra's turn. Their Prismatic Breath does not recharge. They're going to use their multi-attack and make as many bite attacks as it has heads. This is going to be 6 bite attacks, and 8 or higher is going to hit. Ooh, okay. This is crazy. So we have a critical miss, a miss, 3 hits, and a critical hit. Each bite deals 1d10 plus 5 of a damage of a type chosen by the Hydra. Guess it doesn't really matter, but let's just do it all. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison all at the same time, because that's fun. Ooh, wow. Very good roll. That is 64 points of damage. Man, what a hit. The Spider Dragon's turn. Both Spiderling Breath and Stifling Webs recharge. The Spider Dragon's going to do their multi-attack, 1 bite and 2 claws, using that natural 1 on the bite. 18 plus 9 is going to hit. Now the 2 claws. That's a hit and a crit. Each claw deals 2d6 plus 5 slashing. 58 points of damage. The Spider Dragon's also going to use their bonus action, Stifling Webs, and it's now the Draco Hydra's turn. Start their turn, DC 15 dexterity saving throw against the webs. Okay, a 16 plus 1's going to save. They are not restrained. Prismatic Breath does recharge. Oh, Draco Hydra lost a head. We got to remember that. The Draco Hydra's going to move out of the webs, and they're going to use their multi-attack, doing 5 bite attacks. 8 or higher hits. That's going to be a crit and 2 hits. Plus 6, ooh, bad roll. 26 points of damage. And the Draco Hydra at the end of their turn, they now have 7 heads. The Spider Dragon's turn. Stifling Webs does not recharge. They're going to use their Spiderling Breath, DC 15 dexterity saving throw. 8 plus 1's gonna fail. 34 piercing damage. That means already 1 head is gone. And 20 poison damage. Now to the Draco Hydra. 6 heads. They're doing their multi-attack. This could be it. Let's roll. 8 or higher hits. That's a miss. Oh my gosh, 4 misses. 4 misses and 2 hits. Wow. No chance this is gonna take the Spider Dragon down. 27 points of damage. The Draco Hydra does gain 2 more heads. They're up to 8 now. The Spider Dragon's turn. Neither Spiderling Breath nor Stifling Webs recharges. Multi-attack. 1 bite and 2 claws. Let's see. Oh my goodness. All 3 of those hit. The Draco Hydra needs the 7 dice to be 9 or lower to stay up. And it's not happening today. And with 53 points of damage, the Spider Dragon is victorious. Our next round 1 matchup in our CR11 tournament pits the Horned Devil versus the Dragon Bone Golem. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Horned Devil up first. At the start of the Horned Devil's turn, they have to deal with the Dragonbone Golem's Fear Aura. It's a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. Horned Devil adds a +7 to this. But a 4 + 7 is going to fail. The Horned Devil is now frightened of the Dragonbone Golem until the start of its next turn, which means disadvantage on attacks and can't move closer. So they're just going to do their multi-attack and do 3 Hurl Flames. At disadvantage, this is only a +8 to hit. The first one misses. The second one misses. 8 + 8, the third one misses. So, it's the Dragonbone Golem's turn. So even though the Horned Devil is immune to poison damage, the Dragonbone Golem's gonna still use Petrifying Breath. It's a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. Horned Devil adds a 5, so a 10 or higher saves. And a 10 exactly. Which means the Horned Devil is not beginning to turn into stone. That is massive. And it's now back to the Horned Devil's turn. Another DC 15 Wisdom saving throw for Fear Aura. A natural 1. The Horned Devil is still afraid of the Golem. They have no other choice. 3 Hurl Flame attacks. That's a critical fail on the first. That's a miss on the second. And another critical fail. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. We're going to the Dragonbone Golem. Their Petrifying Breath does not recharge. So they're going to do 1 Pinion attack and 2 Rend attacks. Both of the Rend attacks are going to be at advantage. 15 + 9 hits. 12 + 9 hits. And now the Pinion. 15 + 9 hits. Each Rend deals 2d6 + 5 piercing plus 1d10 necrotic. The Pinion deals 2d6 + 5 piercing. That is 48 points of damage. The Horned Devil's turn. Another DC 15 Wisdom save for Fear Aura. Finally, a 10 + 7 is going to save, which means the Horned Devil is now immune to the Dragonbone Golem's Fear Aura. Now not afraid, the Horned Devil is going to go in for 2 Searing Fork attacks and Infernal Tail. Let's do Infernal Tail first. It's a DC 17 Dexterity saving throw. Dragonbone Golem adds a 0. But that is a natural 20. That is going to work. And now 2 Searing Fork attacks. Both of those are going to hit. Each Searing Fork deals 2d8 + 6 piercing plus 2d8 fire. That's 41 points of damage. Dragonbone Golem's turn. Petrifying Breath does not recharge. 1 Pinion and 2 Rend attacks. That is 1 Pinion and 1 Rend hit. 37 damage. The Horned Devil, 2 Searing Forks, and Infernal Tail. Infernal Tail, DC 17 Dexterity saving throw. An 18 + 0 saves. Massive saves from the Golem. Now 2 Searing Forks. Both of those hit. 52 damage. The Dragonbone Golem. Petrifying Breath recharges. They're going to use Petrifying Breath. DC 15 Constitution saving throw. 10 or higher saves for the Horned Devil. 18 + 5 does save. They are not turning to stone. Now to the Horned Devil. Infernal Tail, 2 Searing Forks. Infernal Tail, DC 17 Dex saving throw. And there is the fail. 8 + 0 is not going to work. Let's do the 2 Searing Forks first. 7 or higher hits. Both of those are going to hit. The Infernal Tail deals 1d8 + 6 necrotic damage. That is 53 points of damage. And the Dragonbone Golem receives an Infernal Wound from the Infernal Tail. While wounded, the target loses 3d6 HP at the start of each of its turns. So it's now the Dragonbone Golem's turn. They lose 10 hit points. And Petrifying Breath does not recharge. I mean, they kind of don't have any other choice here. They have to try to stanch the wound. Otherwise, they're just going to die next turn. This is not looking good. They need to make a DC 17 medicine check. They add a 0 to this. That's a 12. They are not able to stanch the wound. Now it's the Horned Devil's turn. They're doing 3 Searing Fork attacks. On a hit, they win. Wow. That is 2 hits, minimum damage, takes the Dragonbone Golem down, and the Horned Devil is moving on to the next round. Today's round 1 matchup of our CR11 tournament pits the Cloud Giant Smiling One versus the Radiant Idol. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Radiant Idol will be up first. They're gonna do 2 flail attacks. 5 or higher is gonna hit. That's only going to be one hit. Flail deals 1d8 plus 6 bludgeoning plus 4d8 radiant. 22 damage. The Cloud Giant's turn. First, they need to make a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw against the Radiant Idol's Aura of False Divinity. The Cloud Giant adds a +3 to this. A 10 plus 3 is going to fail. This means the Cloud Giant Smiling One is charmed. They can repeat their saving throw at the end of each of their turns. Being charmed, what they're going to do is they're just going to cast invisibility on themselves, go invisible, and that's going to be the end of their turn. A repeat of the saving throw. DC 17, a 14 or higher saves. A 19 on the dice. They do save. They are now immune to the Radiant Idol's Aura of False Divinity. Now to the Radiant Idol. The Radiant Idol cannot see the Cloud Giant Smiling One. What they're going to do is they're going to use their once-a-day action Radiant Strike. They make a 30-foot radius cylinder. Each creature in the cylinder must make a DC 17 con saving throw, which I'm going to say that they're going to get the Cloud Giant in that cylinder. The Cloud Giant adds a 10, so a 7 or higher saves. An 11 plus 10 is going to save. So they're going to take 8d8 radiant damage halved. 34 radiant damage halved to 17. They're going to need to make a DC 10 concentration check. 7 plus 10, that's going to succeed. They are still invisible. The Cloud Giant Smiling One's turn. They're going to do 2 slam attacks. Their first slam at advantage. We got different colored dice. Let's just roll them all at the same time. There's a natural 20 with advantage and a natural 1 on their next one. Each slam deals 3d8 plus 8 bludgeoning plus 1d10 psychic. That's 45 bludgeoning damage. The Radiant Idol is resistant to non-magical bludgeoning, so that's only going to be 22, and 13 psychic damage. The Radiant Idol's turn. 2 flail attacks. The first at advantage. 12 plus 10 hits and a 17 plus 10 hits. 60 points of damage. Cloud Giant's turn. 2 more slam attacks. 8 plus 12 hits. Both are going to hit. 48 bludgeoning damage halved to 24 and 18 psychic damage. To the Radiant Idol, 2 flail attacks. The 4 plus 10 is going to miss. That's only 1 hit. 30 points of damage. To the Cloud Giant, 2 slams. That is a natural 20 and a hit. This might be it right here. 61 bludgeoning halved to 30, and they're still gonna be up. 13 psychic damage. The Radiant Idol, they got no other choice. They're just gonna do 2 flail attacks. Ooh, the 4 plus 10 misses. That's only 1 hit. 39 damage. The Cloud Giant's turn. 2 more slams. Oh my gosh. And that is another crit. Crit and a hit. Oh my gosh. I think this is over. 45 bludgeoning, halved to 22, and 15 psychic. With that, the Cloud Giant Smiling One is victorious. Our second to last matchup in round 1 of our CR11 tournament pits the Remarz versus the Bandit Crime Lord. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Bandit Crime Lord up first. They're going to go in and do 3 scimitar attacks. Their first scimitar attack, they're going to use their bonus action Deadly Aim. They give themselves advantage on their next attack roll. If that attack hits, the target takes an additional 8d6 poison damage. This is a big roll, and 8 or higher hits. 17 plus 9 is going to hit. Now 2 more scimitars. A natural 20, but 1 miss. Each scimitar deals 2d6 plus 5 slashing plus 4d6 poison, plus the additional poison from Deadly Aim. This is so many d6s. I need 4 more d6s. 4 more d6s. This is 26 d6s. Oh my gosh, here we go. Oh. So much. Let's count. 90 plus 10. That is a cool 100 points of damage. Now to the Remarz. They're going to try to bite the Crime Lord. 6 or higher hits. And that is cocked. And we gotta honor the cock. A 4 plus 11 is going to miss. Oh, that is so brutal. At the end of the Remaraz's turn, they have an ability Heat Aura. Each creature within 5 feet of the Remarz takes 3d10 fire damage. 24 points of damage. Back to the Bandit's turn. 3 more scimitar attacks. Their first one with Deadly Aim. Attack number 1 hits. Now the 2 more scimitars. Both of those hit. This could be it. I can't even rattle them. Let's go. Let's drop them in. And now let's count. That is 128 points of damage to the Remarz. And the Bandit Crime Lord deals the most points in IFC history. The Bandit Crime Lord is moving on to the next round. Our final round 1 matchup in our CR11 tournament pits the Hungry Sorrowsworn versus the Nightmare Shepherd. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Hungry Sorrowsworn up first. First, for the Hungry Sorrowsworn, they have to deal with the Nightmare Shepherd's Aura of Nightmares. They need to make a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw or take 2d10 Psychic. A 9+0 is gonna fail. They take 15 psychic damage. And now they're gonna do their multi-attack, 1 bite and 1 claw. A 10 or higher is gonna hit. Both of those are gonna hit. The bite deals 1d8 plus 4 piercing plus 3d8 necrotic. The Nightmare Shepherd is resistant to the necrotic damage. And the claw deals 46 plus 4 slashing. 12 necrotic, half to 6, and 31 piercing and slashing. To the Nightmare Shepherd's turn, they're going to use their action Herd the Underworld. The Shepherd pulls twisted souls from the underworld, and 1d6 shadows arise around them. Shadows are a challenge rating 1/2 monster. So let's roll a d6 and see how many shadows come up. Only 2 shadows. The shadows act right after the shepherd. So with the Nightmare Shepherd's Aura of Nightmares, undead creatures within 30 feet of the shepherd gained a +5 bonus to attack and damage rolls. So the shadows are going to add a +5 to their attack roll. So now they have a +9. So an 8 or higher is going to hit. Both of those are going to hit. Each of their strength drains deals 2d6 plus 2 necrotic damage. But now 2d6 plus 7 necrotic damage. 29 necrotic damage, and the Hungry Sorrowsworn's strength score goes down by a d4 for every strength drain hit. And that's a total of 3. So the Hungry Sorrowsworn's strength is now a 16, which means their bite and claw attack modifier is now only a 7. So it's now the Hungry Sorrowsworn's turn. First, Aura of Nightmares, DC 17 Wisdom saving throw. An 8+0 is going to fail. Take 3 psychic damage. I don't think the Nightmare Shepherd is within melee range of the Sorrowsworn, so they're gonna attack these shadows. Let's do the claw on the first shadow first. 12+7 is gonna hit. 46 plus 4 slashing. The shadow is resistant to this. Oh my gosh, and that's a terrible roll. That's 5 plus 4, 9 slashing, halved to 4. And now I guess they're gonna try to bite the same shadow. Okay, a 10+7 is gonna hit. The shadows are immune to necrotic damage. Oh my gosh. So only 1d8 plus 4 piercing. That's 9 piercing, halved to 4. So bad. To the Nightmare Shepherd's turn. The Nightmare Shepherd's gonna use their once-a-day spell, Confusion. The Sorrowsworn needs to make a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw. A 7+0 is gonna fail. The Sorrowsworn is now confused. This is so bad for them. The Shadow's turn, both gonna do their strength drain attacks. 8+9 is gonna hit. Both of those hit. 33 necrotic damage. And the Sorrowsworn's strength is reduced to 13. That's a 2 and 1 on the dice. So now their modifier to hit is only a +5. The Sorrowsworn's turn. At the start of their turn, let's do the Wisdom saving throw for Aura of Nightmares. That's gonna fail. 11 psychic damage, and they roll a d10 at the start of their turn to determine their behavior. That's a 9. They can move and act normally. They need to take these shadows down. Let's do their claw attack. They need a 7 or higher. Okay, the claw hits. 19 slashing, halved to 9. So 1 shadow down, 1 to go. They're gonna use their bite against the other shadow. 14+5 hits. That is 6 piercing, halved to 3. At the end of the Sorrowsworn's turn, they can repeat the save on Confusion. They need a 17 on the die. That's only a 7. They're still confused. To the Shepherd's turn, they're gonna go in for their multi-attack, 1 claw and 1 staff. A 9 or higher is gonna hit. Both of those are gonna hit. The claws deal 2d8 plus 4 slashing plus 3d10 necrotic. The staff deals 2d6 plus 4 bludgeoning plus 4d12 psychic. That's 55 points of damage. Now to the 1 shadow remaining, they're gonna do strength drain. 13+9 is gonna hit. 18 points of damage. And a d4. That's a 4. The Sorrowsworn's strength is now a 9. Their 2-hit bonus is only a +3 now. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. The Sorrowsworn's turn. Aura of Nightmare save. 8+0 fails. Take 11 psychic damage. And now a D10 for confusion. Ah! Caught that. Another 9. They can act and move normally. I guess they should just try to... Oh, the Shadow's gonna kill them. Oh, what do? They're going for the Nightmare Shepherd. I guess, why not? Bite and Claw, +3 to hit. A 9+3 misses with the bite, but a 19+3 hits with the claw. Wow, that's a great damage roll. That is 27 slashing damage. Now DC 13 saving throw for confusion. That's a 2+8. That's gonna fail. The Hungry Sorrowsworn is no longer confused. Good for them. This is great for them. It's now the Nightmare Shepherd's turn. 1 claw and 1 staff. Both of those hit. Oh my gosh, that's 56. 56 plus 8 was 64 points of damage. The Nightmare Shepherd defeats the Hungry Sorrowsworn. Our first round 2 matchup of our CR11 tournament pits the CR10 champion Haunting Revenant versus the Treefolk. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. 2 17s, and they both add a +1. Both of their decks is 12. We gotta re-roll. Oh my gosh, I thought that was the same. But that's a 9 for the Haunting Revenant, which means the Haunting Revenant up first. The Revenant's gonna do their multi-attack, 2 slams, and Invitation. First Invitation, it's a DC 17 Charisma saving throw. The Treefolk adds a +0. And 18+0 saves. Now 2 slam attacks, and 8 or higher hits. Both of those are gonna miss. It is now the Treefolk's turn. Treefolk's gonna do 2 Crushing Vine attacks. The Crushing Vine can grapple and restrain a creature. The Haunting Revenant is immune to the grappled and restrained conditions. An 8+10 misses, but the 13+10 hits. Each Crushing Vine deals 3d12 plus 6 bludgeoning. 32 points of damage to the Haunting Revenant. 2 Object Slams and Invitation. DC 17 Charisma saving throw for Invitation. A 14+0 is gonna fail. The Treefolk is now inside the Haunting Revenant and swallowed. This is not good because now the 2 Object Slam attacks are at advantage. 13+9 hits. And an 8+9 barely hits. Each Object Slam deals 5d8 plus 5 bludgeoning. The Treefolk is resistant to bludgeoning damage, so this is all halved. 52 bludgeoning damage, halved to 26. The Treefolk's turn. They're gonna do 2 more Crushing Vine attacks, 10 or higher hits. That's only gonna be 1 hit. 25 plus 6, 31 bludgeoning to the Haunting Revenant. 2 more Object Slams, both at advantage. 13+9 hits, and a 17+9 hits. 44 bludgeoning, halved to 22. This is gonna be a close one, back and forth. The Treefolk's turn, 2 Crushing Vine attacks. That's 1 hit. 24 points of damage. The Haunting Revenant's turn, 2 Object Slams, both at advantage. First one hits, and the second one hits. 62 damage, halved to 31. The Treefolk's turn, 2 Crushing Vine attacks. Ooh. And that is a critical fail and a miss. The Haunting Revenant's turn, 2 Object Slams, both at advantage. Slam number 1 hits, and slam number 2 hits. That's 64 bludgeoning, halved to 32. Our CR10 champion. Will they get to the semifinals? It's looking really good for them. This would be our first ever champion in the previous tournament making it to the semifinals. Can the Treefolk stop them? It's their turn. 2 Crushing Vine attacks. It's only 1 hit. 29 bludgeoning to the Haunting Revenant. 2 Object Slams, both at advantage. An 8+9 barely hits, and the second one hits. 53 bludgeoning, halved to 26. Treefolk's turn. 2 more Crushing Vines. 1 hit and 1 miss. 23 points of damage. The Haunting Revenant's turn. 2 more Object Slams. First one's a hit, and the second one's a hit. And a good roll. We might be seeing the previous champion moving to the semifinals. 62 halved to 31. The Treefolk is still up. They have a chance here. They're going to do 2 Crushing Vine attacks. At minimum, both of these need a hit. And if they get a crit and a hit, there's a good chance that they're taking the Haunting Revenant down. Let's see. That's 2 hits. Okay, we got 6d12 plus 12 coming. A 52 on 6d12. And the Haunting Revenant goes down. Ooh, some big rolls and some low rolls. What is it? Oh my gosh. 10 plus 24 is 34. Plus 9 is 43. Plus 2 is 45. Plus 12 is 57 points of damage. The Haunting Revenant is still up. It's the Haunting Revenant's turn. 2 more slam attacks. On a hit, minimum damage takes the Treefolk down. The first object slam, an 8 or higher, and it's over. And with a 19 on the dice, plus 9, that hits, and minimum damage takes the Treefolk down. And the Haunting Revenant, our CR10 champion, is moving to the semifinals. Our next round 2 matchup in our CR11 tournament pits the Dow versus the Spider Dragon. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Spider Dragon up first. They're going to use their Spiderling Breath. The Spider Dragon exhales venomous spiderlings in a 30-foot cone. Each creature must make a DC 15 Dex saving throw. The Dow adds a plus 5. 14 plus 5 is going to save. 60-10 piercing and 60-10 poison all halved. 30 piercing halved to 15. This one's cocked and we honor the cock. 25 poison halved to 12. The Spider Dragon's also going to use their bonus action Stifling Webs, making a 30-foot cube of strong, sticky webbing. It's now the Dow's turn. So at the start of their turn, they have to make a DC 15 Dexterity saving throw, or they're going to be restrained in the web. It's a plus 5 to this. 10 or higher is going to save. Whoa! That's out of the box. That's out of the box. And that's a natural 20. They are not restrained by the webbing, but it is difficult terrain here. So the Dow won't be able to get to the Spider Dragon this turn. They're going to move halfway through the webbing. They're not in the Spider Dragon space, so they're going to use their multi-attack, 2 Earth Burst attacks. A 7 or higher is going to hit. It's going to be 1 miss and 1 hit. Each Earth Burst deals 2d8 plus 6 bludgeoning, but on a hit or miss, the Earth explodes from the target's space, and they need to make a Dexterity saving throw. So 2 DC 16 Dexterity saving throws. They add a plus 8 to this, so an 8 or higher is going to save. A nat 20 and a 12, both of those are going to save. Okay, so they're only going to take 2d8 plus 6 bludgeoning. That's 9 bludgeoning damage. The Spider Dragon's turn. Neither Spiderling Breath or Stifling Webs recharges. The Spider Dragon's gonna do 1 bite and 2 claw attacks. Ooh, the lowest is a 14 plus 9. All of those are gonna hit. The bite deals 1d10 plus 5 piercing plus 2d12 poison. Each claw deals 2d6 plus 5 slashing. It's 57 points of damage. The Dow's turn. The start of their turn, DC 15 Dex saving throw against the Stifling Webs. 6 plus 5 is going to fail, which means the Dow is now restrained. Here is what the Dow is going to do. The Dow is going to cast their once-a-day spell, Gaseous Form, on themselves, which gives them a fly speed of 10 feet. So I'm going to say they're able to get out of the Stifling Webs and fly out of the webs entirely. But as they fly out of the webs, the Spider Dragon is going to get an attack of opportunity. They're going to do their bite attack. 10 plus 9 is going to hit. 9 piercing halved to 4 because they're in this gaseous form, and 13 points of poison damage. They will have to make a concentration check, DC 10. 9 plus 7 does save. It is now the Spider Dragon's turn. Ooh, this is tough. Stifling Webs does recharge. Well, the Spider Dragon's gonna move towards the Dow, make 1 bite and 2 claw attacks. The 3 plus 9 misses, but the 10 and 17 on the dice do hit. 21 physical damage, half to 10, and 17 poison. And for a bonus action, Spider Dragon's gonna use Stifling Webs again. I'm gonna say at this point, basically the entire arena in webs. There's no way around it for the Dow at this point. It's now the Dow's turn. And unfortunately, they just need to take their turn to get out of gaseous form. And once they get back into their normal form, they now need to make a DC 15 Dexterity saving throw against the webs. 12 plus 5 saves. They are not restrained right now. Back to the Spider Dragon's turn. Spiderling Breath recharges. They're going to use Spiderling Breath. That's a DC 15 dex saving throw. That's a natural 1 for the Dow. They're going to take this whole thing. 33 piercing and 33 poison. The Dow's turn. First, Stifling Webs, DC 15 dex saving throw. 16 plus 5, that does save. They are not restrained. They're going to make 3 Earthen Maul attacks. Ooh. 9 plus 10 hits. All of those hit. Each maul deals 4d6 bludgeoning damage. 51 plus 18. That is 69 points of damage. Dow going out with a bang. The Spider Dragon's turn. Spiderling Breath recharges. Oh my gosh. And actually, using Spiderling Breath, it's 6d10 piercing and 6d10 poison. Even with a save and minimum damage, the Dow goes down. And the Spider Dragon is moving on to the semifinals. Our next round 2 matchup in our CR11 tournament pits the Horned Devil versus the Cloud Giant Smiling One. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. Nat 20 for the Horned Devil, which means the Horned Devil up first. They're going to do their multi-attack, 2 Searing Forks, and their Infernal Tail. Let's do Infernal Tail first. It's a DC 17 dex saving throw. A 9 plus 1 is a 10. That's not going to save. Well, let's do our 2 Searing Forks as well. 5 or higher is going to hit. That's a miss, but a crit. Searing Fork deals 2d8 plus 6 piercing plus 2d8 fire. All of that's doubled from the crit. Infernal Tail deals 1d8 plus 6 necrotic. 41 points of damage, and the Cloud Giant receives an Infernal Wound from the Infernal Tail. This is going to come into play right now, because it's the Cloud Giant Smiling One's turn, and at the start of their turn, they're going to lose 3d6 HP every single turn. That's 11 HP. Cloud Giant's going to do 2 slam attacks. A 6 or higher is going to hit. Both of those are going to hit. Each slam deals 3d8 plus 8 bludgeoning plus 1d10 psychic. 53 points of damage. The Horned Devil's turn. They're going to do 3 Searing Fork attacks. 5 or higher hits. Ooh. That's a crit miss, a miss, and 1 hit. 15 points of damage. The Cloud Giant's turn. Takes 15 points of damage from their Infernal Wound. They're doing 2 slams, 1 at advantage. 10 plus 12 hits with advantage, but the 5 plus 12 misses. That's 23 points of damage. The Horned Devil's turn. 3 Searing Forks. That's 1 miss, but the 6 plus 10 hits, so that's 2 hits. 38 plus 12, that is 50 points of damage. Cloud Giant's turn. They lose 3d6 HP. They take 9 points of damage from their Infernal Wound and 2 slam attacks. Both a 19 and 14 plus 12 hit. That's 42 points of damage. Back to the Horned Devil. 3 Searing Forks. Ooh, oh my gosh. That's 1 miss and 2 hits. That is 46 points of damage. The Horned Devil seems like they have the advantage here. The Cloud Giant's turn. They take 14 points of damage. Oh my gosh. They need to go crazy here. 2 slams. Okay, both of those hit. 13. Oh, we got a rider. 46 plus 16. That is 62 points of damage. Oh man, this is gonna be very, very close. The Horned Devil's turn. 3 more Searing Forks. They need some hits here. They need some hits. Oh no. That's a critical miss, a miss, and only 1 hit. This is not going to do it. This is not going to take the Smiling One down. That's 8, 15, 17 plus 6. That's 23 points of damage. Here we are. The Cloud Giant Smiling One's turn. They take 3d6 HP from their Infernal Wound. Okay, 10 more hit points down. 2 slam attacks, 1 at advantage. If both of these hit, minimum damage takes the Horned Devil down. Let's roll. 6 or higher hits. And that's a crit and a hit. Minimum damage takes the Horned Devil down. But the match is not over. The Horned Devil's Infernal Tail dealt the Infernal Wound. At the start of each of the Cloud Giant's turn, they lose 3d6 hit points. The wound closes after 1 minute, after a spell restores hit points to the target, or after the target or a creature within 5 feet takes an action to stanch the wound by succeeding on a DC 17 Wisdom check, a medicine check. So, back to the Horned Devil, who is unconscious. Now to the Cloud Giant Smiling One. They're going to take 3d6 points of damage. That's only 9 points of damage. The Cloud Giant is still up. We're on round 6, so 1 minute is not going to happen before the Cloud Giant goes down. The Cloud Giant, they don't have any spells to give them back hit points. They need to make a DC 17 medicine check. They have a +3 to wisdom, so they need a 14 or higher. 14 or higher. This is big dice moment. This is a big dice moment right here. DC 17 medicine, they need a 14 or higher. That's a 6 on the dice. The Cloud Giant is unable to stanch the wound. To the Horned Devil, back to the Cloud Giant. 3d6. One at a time. A 4. The Cloud Giant needs both of these to be a 1. Let's just roll them together. Let's roll them together. 2 1s, and the Cloud Giant is still up. And with 8 points of damage, an unprecedented moment in the Interplanar Fighting Championships. The Horned Devil knocked unconscious by the Cloud Giant, and the Cloud Giant unable to stay alive long enough to leave the ring. Both the Horned Devil and Cloud Giant Smiling One are down. And here is the official IFC ruling. If both competitors go down, well, neither monster wins. No one will be moving on to the next round, which means the next bout, the Bandit Crime Lord versus the Nightmare Shepherd. The winner of that match is going to go directly to the championships. Our last round 2 matchup of our CR11 tournament pits the Bandit Crime Lord versus the Nightmare Shepherd. Who's going to win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Nightmare Shepherd up first. They're going to use their action, Herd the Underworld. The Shepherd pulls Twisted Souls from the Underworld. 1d6 shadows arise. Let's roll a d6 to see how many shadows come up. That's going to be 4 shadows. That's a lot of shadows. The Nightmare Shepherd also has an ability, Aura of Nightmares, where undead creatures within 30 feet gain a +5 bonus to attack rolls and damage rolls. These shadows go right after the Nightmare Shepherd, and so that's the Nightmare Shepherd's turn. It's now the Shadow's turn. These 4 shadows are all going to attack the Bandit Crime Lord with their Strength Drain. An 8 or higher is going to hit. Oh my gosh. All of those hit. Each hit now deals 2d6 + 7 necrotic damage. That is 50 points of damage. Also, Bandit Crime Lord's strength score is reduced by 1d4 every hit. So we're going to roll 4d4s. The Bandit Crime Lord has a strength of 10. If the target's strength score is reduced to 0, that target just dies. This could be it. The first 2, that's a 4 and a 1. So if this is a 5, it's over. And that's 2 more 1s. So that's only 7. The Bandit's strength score goes from a 10 down to a 3. They are still alive. And that is the Shadow's turn. The Bandit Crime Lord is now up. They're in a tough place. They can deal a lot of damage, but all of their damage is poison damage. Both the Shepherd and the Shadows are immune to poison damage. What the Bandit Crime Lord needs to do is take out these Shadows. They're going to make 3 attacks. Their first one, they're going to use their bonus action Deadly Aim, get advantage. The extra poison damage doesn't matter. A 9 + 9 is going to hit. Now the next 2. 16 and 12 on the dice are going to hit. Each scimitar hit deals 2d6 + 5 slashing. So that's 10, 15 points of slashing damage. The Shadows are resistant to non-magical slashing. So that's only going to be 7 points of damage. Now the second, that's another 15, half to 7. And now the third, that's 13, half to 6. The Bandit Crime Lord is able to take 1 out. Oh, I did forget Aura of Nightmares. At the start of the Bandit Crime Lord's turn, they should have made a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw. Let's do that now. A 6 + 2 is going to fail. So they're going to take 2d10 psychic damage. 13 points of psychic damage. So now the Nightmare Shepherd, they're going to cast Confusion, DC 17 Wisdom saving throw. They do not save. The Bandit Crime Lord is now confused. It is now the Shadow's turn. 3 more attacks and 8 or higher hits. That's going to be 2 hits. 25 points of damage, and now the 2d4s. Bandit Crime Lord's strength is at a 3, so if either one is over a 1, it's over. And that's a 3 and a 4. The Bandit Crime Lord's strength is reduced by 7. Their strength score is now 0, which means the Crime Lord dies, and the Nightmare Shepherd gets a free pass through the semifinals directly to the championships. Our first and only semifinal bout in our CR11 tournament pits our CR10 champion Haunting Revenant versus the Spider Dragon. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. It's a 19 for the Haunting Revenant and a 15 plus 4 for the Spider Dragon. The Spider Dragon has the higher dexterity, which means the Spider Dragon up first. So the Spider Dragon has their Stifling Webs. That's a bonus action. It makes it difficult terrain, and any creature that enters that area needs to make a dexterity saving throw or they're restrained. The Haunting Revenant can't be restrained, and all of their attacks and abilities they can do at ranged. So Stifling Webs just won't really come into effect this match. But what will happen, the Spider Dragon's going to use their Spiderling Breath. They exhale venomous spiderlings in a 30-foot cone. Each creature must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. 12 plus 1 is going to fail. 60-10 piercing plus 60-10 poison damage. The Haunting Revenant is immune to poison damage. That's 39 points of piercing damage. Now the Haunting Revenant's turn. They're going to use their multi-attack, 2 object slams, and invitation. First invitation is a DC 17 charisma saving throw. The Spider Dragon has magic resistance, so they're going to be able to roll this with advantage. That's an 8 plus 4. That means the Spider Dragon is now teleported inside the Revenant space and is swallowed. And while swallowed, the Haunting Revenant has advantage on their object slam attacks. 2 of these at advantage. The first one's gonna hit, and a 13 plus 9, the second one's gonna hit. Each slam deals 5d8 plus 5 bludgeoning. That is 62 points of damage. Is our CR10 champion going to the finals in the CR11 tournament? It is looking like it. Now the Spider Dragon's turn. Spiderling Breath does recharge. They're going to use it. Another DC 15 dex saving throw. Oh, an 18 plus 1 does succeed. Oh, and a terrible roll. That's 15 piercing, halved to 7. This house is good. How is this a CR10? It's the Haunting Revenant's turn. They're doing 2 object slams, both at advantage. Okay, well, a 6 plus 9 is going to miss, but a 9 plus 9 is going to hit. 36 points of damage. Spider Dragon's turn. Spiderling Breath recharges. They're going to use it again. DC 15 dex saving throw. 6 plus 1 is going to fail. 23 piercing damage. Also, as an FYI, the Spider Dragon can't get out of the Haunting Revenant, because while the Revenant has HP, a swallowed creature can only leave by using magic that enables planar travel. So they can't get out. It's now the Haunting Revenant's turn. 2 more object slams. The first one's gonna hit, and the second one's gonna hit. This might be it. This might be it. That's 53 plus 10, and with 63 points of damage, the Spider Dragon goes down, and the Haunting Revenant, our CR10 champion, is moving on to the finals to attempt to win the Challenge Rating 11 tournament. With what might be the most anticipated matchup, we have the finals of the CR11 tournament, our CR10 champion, Haunting Revenant, versus the Nightmare Shepherd. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Haunting Revenant up first. The Haunting Revenant is going to do their multi-attack. Oh, and before that, I should mention the Nightmare Shepherd's Aura of Nightmares. Their DC 17 Wisdom saving throw at the start of their enemy's turn when any other creature that isn't undead or a construct. The Haunting Revenant is an undead, therefore they do not need to make this saving throw. 2 object slams and invitation. Invitation is a DC 17 Charisma saving throw. The Nightmare Shepherd has magic resistance, so they're going to have advantage on this, and they have a +5 to charisma. The Nightmare Shepherd just failed. Oh my goodness. The Nightmare Shepherd is now teleported inside the Revenant's space and swallowed. The Revenant makes 2 object slam attacks, both at advantage. And the Nightmare Shepherd's Aura of Nightmares states that undead creatures within 30 feet of the Shepherd gain a +5 bonus to attack and damage rolls. The Haunting Revenant is an undead. Therefore, they're going to get a +5 bonus to their attack and damage rolls. So they're going to have a +14 to hit the Nightmare Shepherd. With advantage, a 4 or higher is going to hit. The first one hits, and the second slam hits. 5d8 plus 10 bludgeoning per slam attack. Oh my gosh, we got a rider. 48 points of damage. Now the Nightmare Shepherd's turn. The Nightmare Shepherd doesn't have any abilities to allow them to planar travel. They need to rely on their shadows. They're going to use their action Herd the Underworld. They pull Twisted Souls from the Underworld. 1d6 shadows are going to appear inside the Haunting Revenant. The Nightmare Shepherd needs a really high roll here. They need it. And that's a 3. That's not great. That is their turn. And the shadows act right after the shepherd, each going to do their strength drain attack. They get a +9 to hit, so an 11 or higher hits. Ooh. That is only going to be 1 hit. Each strength drain deals 2d6 plus 2 necrotic. The Aura of Nightmares makes that 2d6 plus 7 necrotic. Ooh, max damage, 19 points of necrotic. The Haunting Revenant is resistant to necrotic damage, so that's only going to be 9 points of damage. In addition, each strength drain reduces the target's strength by a d4. That's a 3. Okay, the Haunting Revenant's strength is now a 17. Their object slam attack with the Aura of Nightmares is going to be a +12. Okay, now to the Haunting Revenant. They're going to do 2 object slam attacks. They're just going to do them on the Nightmare Shepherd. They're going to try to end it. A 10 plus 12 hits, and a 16 plus 12 hits. The Haunting Revenant's only going to do 5d8 plus 8 bludgeoning damage. That is 60 points of damage. The Haunting Revenant, oh my goodness. Now the Nightmare Shepherd's turn. They're gonna try for this Confusion, once a day spell. It's a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw, a 9 or higher, and the Revenant saves. That's a 13 plus 8. The Haunting Revenant saves from Confusion. Now to the shadows, 3 strength drain attacks, 11 or higher hits. This one is cocked. It is cocked. That's 2 hits, 1 miss. 27 necrotic, half to 13. Now the 2 d4s from strength drain. That's 2 3s. The Haunting Revenant's strength score is now an 11, which means their strength is +0. Oh my gosh. This is wild. It's now the Haunting Revenant's turn. They're doing 2 object slam attacks on the Nightmare Shepherd. Their object slam would normally just be a +4. With Aura of Nightmares, it's now a +9. So +9, a 9 or higher with advantage hits. The first one hits. Oh my gosh. That could do it. Let's do the second one. And a 19 on the dice. That is 2 more object slam hits. On a 15 or more on these 10d8s, our CR10 champion is going to win the CR11 tournament and move on to the Challenge Rating 12 tournament. And that's going to do it. 15, 21, 23, 30, 33, 40, 48. Oh my gosh. And with 71 points of damage, the Nightmare Shepherd goes down. The shadows disappear when the Shepherd dies. And your Challenge Rating 10 champion, the Haunting Revenant, is your Challenge Rating 11 champion. My name is Brandon, and I'll see you next time on the Interplanar Fighting Championships.